Welcome back, everyone. I jinxed it. Yesterday I said, hopefully today I'll be able to take one less sweater. I added a sweater today. We colder today, so it's all right. Spring is slow moving. We good. Good topic today. I can't really get it out of my mind, yet it's not fully formulated yet. So let's just do it together, right? Shall we? Let's do it. All right. Here's what's stuck in my head. Yesterday or the day before, we talked about be still and because we were talking about urgency culture and how that really disconnects us from our own divinity, really, like our own sacredness, our own empowerment, everything, because we're giving our power to the urgency, which isn't actually urgent. It's not an emergency. So another thing though, so upon that whole be still and know, because when we have stillness in our lives, we know more things. Why? Because we give ourselves the time to observe, conceptualize, create ideas, opinions, according to our values, morals, everything. It's just, you need that. You can't do it all at once sometimes. You need to be still. And we associated this concept with how there's a psalm in the Bible where it's mentioned once, be still and know I am God. Now, I think that also can be interpreted as be still and know. I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me. Be still and know that I am God, meaning be still and know of the larger picture. You will be reminded, you will be able to see and conceptualize the larger picture after periods of stillness. Now, there's a difference between stillness and stagnancy. Stillness is about reflection, meditation, viewing what's already going on in the internal parts of your world. Stagnation is basically you got too comfy. You got too comfy with your external, and because you're comfy, you don't want to change or disrupt or anything what you got right now. And even if our stagnation is within something not so comfy, our brains don't really know that, because when you repeat trauma over and over and over again, your brain starts to consider that the new comfy. So stagnation happens with too much fear of change. So, and that messes with our comfort zone, what we're used to. So, being still and knowing self, knowing external, having better understanding, having a new perspective, things of that nature, leads into what I want to talk about today, which is be not afraid. Because why are these two together in my head? Why are they stuck, right? Because once you become still, you know. And once you know, you become afraid. Because it's terrifying to know. Isn't it? All of this unseen world, this untapped portion of the universe that people don't know about. And once you know about it, two things happen. One, complete freedom. You're like, wow, nothing matters. Right. Then two, terrifying. Nothing matters. Right? It's terrifying as well as freeing. That's duality. And that's why the universe is based off of duality. We have to have both. They all exist within the one. Happy and sad together. Okay. So, be still and know, but be not afraid. Now, I got some notes. Ready? Wish I didn't. Allergies. All right. The Bible views fear. Keep your mind open to this, because anybody in the energetic healing realm, we know, just hear these key words and you'll see that the similarities. The Bible views fear, particularly fear that stems from unbelief or doubt, as detrimental to faith and a hindrance to living a life pleasing to God. Okay, so that now rabbit hole unlocked. What is a life pleasing to God? Because we gotta debunk some stuff. A life pleasing to God involves aligning oneself with His will through faith, love, and good deeds, as described in various religious texts, blah, 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 blah. It's about pursuing holiness, loving others, and living a life of integrity and compassion. What is heart chakra healing? That, right? Okay? Because that's the point. To reach those higher vibrational frequencies, you need to have unconditional love, compassion, integrity, empathy, a love for others. Right. So, once again, we're all just kind of talking about how to raise your vibration so that you can live in heaven. Heaven on earth. This text is trying to okay, whatever. So, moving on. Cool. Then I was like, wait, where did it come up? Something about, his will. What is that? Because I liked everything else. Faith, love, good deeds, because that aligns with heart chakra healing template as well. So, there's validity in that because, in my opinion, if a puzzle piece fits in multiple different puzzles, then that piece is, a universal puzzle piece. So, universal typically means universally accepted or, okay. So, I didn't like that one thing, his will. That wasn't deeply explained enough for me. So the next rabbit hole, God's will generally refers to God's desires and intentions. If you just read that, people get up in arms. They get up in arms. How dare you? How dare you? But let's go on. God's desires and intentions, both in terms of his overall plan for the universe and in how he wants individuals to live their lives. Once again, that can be triggering, right? How dare you tell me how to live my life? Guidebook. Anyway, so next rabbit hole. God's will for us, in a general sense, is for us to love God, universe, nature, whatever that means to you, the overall is of everything, for us to love God and love our neighbor. Heart chakra healing, once again. This is a core principle revealed through scripture, emphasizing obedience to his word and following his guidance. But his word and his guidance are that of God desires for us to live a life of righteousness, holiness, abstaining from sin, and giving thanks in all circumstances. Gratitude, appreciation, gratitude practice, gratitude lists. Right? It's the same. Okay. He also wants us to share our faith, which that's important. But we're doing that even if we're not believing in this particular spiritual text, we're still doing this, right? If you're on the self-healing journey, you are still following these general rules because these are universal laws for raising your personal energy vibration. Now, there's another part in the Bible where he talks about if you feel sin, guilt, shame, hardship, stuff that weighs you down, utilizing the word weight and heavy. And now being in 2025, we can translate that into lower vibrational frequencies, the density of a black hole, heaviness, connection to the lower vibrations, which you can also be into hell, that same concept. If you have that heaviness, that weight upon your heart, you are unable to ascend and raise your vibrational frequency because there's weight. So there comes in the concept of, what's that word? When you go and ask for forgiveness, confession. What do we do in the healing journey? We find someone, a guide, a coach, a therapist, a trusted friend, to tell about our weight, to lighten the load, to share the load, to make it easier to transmute. You see what I'm saying? This is it. This is it. This is just heart chakra healing. Oh, I love it. So, be not afraid. Why is that so important? Because if you are afraid, you are unbelieving. If you are afraid, you do not believe that by raising your personal energy vibration will work. You have doubt. Now we're playing with science, right? And vibration and frequency and the law of attraction. Be not afraid, because when you are afraid, you have no trust. So if you are afraid, but you say you believe, you are not a true believer. If you believe in frequency vibration output and frequency healing, and you believe that you can create your life and your environment based off of that frequency and whatever you can visualize in your mind's eye, if you truly believe that, then what are you afraid of? The only thing you're afraid of is the trust in yourself to maintain these concepts. Because we are drawn to sin. We are drawn to the easy way out of not loving our fellow man. Hate is easier than love. It is. I know. But once you really unconditionally love, enter detachment. So beautiful gift comes along with unconditional love. You are no longer at the disposal of the ebbs and flows of other people's emotions. So you can love them unconditionally. From a distance, maybe. But fear and hatred keeps you tethered. You are tethered, and you are connected to the outcome of every one of these circumstances that are unfavorable. Be not afraid. Repeated 365 times in the Bible. Be still and know once. Because that's like too powerful. It was a little too powerful. But be not afraid, it's almost like, just come on already. Trust me, I'm not saying it's an easy concept. Trust me, I was afraid of everything. And now in this belief and in this trust, this stage of my journey that I'm in, when I feel fear, I talk about it immediately, because I know that it's a fear with an old programming. It's not the belief and the faith that I have now. It's a lingering neural connection that I can retrain. So I'll talk about it. I don't care who you are. You could be a stranger. I'd be like, yo, I feel really this whole situation feels daunting right now. Why? I actually don't know. I'm feeling as if it's connected to something in my past. And that's a crazy feeling for me right now. I thought we were through all these triggers. Like, whatever. And then you're just talking about it. Then you laugh about it. And then it kind of goes away, because there's really nothing to be afraid of. Because when you really think about it, everything that we go through, scary or not scary, is also for our self-growth and development. I know. Trust me. I also suffer from CPTSD. I know there are scary shit out there. Trust me. I've seen some really scary stuff. Like, I don't need to get into it right now. There are things to be afraid of. However, do we embody that fear? Or do we utilize that messenger system of the emotion of fear as a message for exactly what it is, a message? Because I'll tell you, for one, I can sniff out in a heartbeat if I'm in a place I'm not supposed to be in. I don't become landlocked with fear. I feel it for a second. And I go, all right, what about this environment? And I do my little mindful scan, my little observe, little non-judgmental, stick to the facts, figure things out. And I go, oh, because the last time I saw A, B, C, and D in one place, this happened. And I'm seeing A, B, C, and D. Even if I only see A, B, and C, I'm still out. We don't need to suffer anymore. I'm good. I trust that emotional message Call it the Holy Spirit if you want, but that's also your prefrontal cortex and your intuition putting all the pieces together, but still a gift, right? So we're being led, we're being guided. We have these internal system alarms based off of our experiences. And when we've done our trauma trigger healing and we're past being triggered beyond our control, like you know what kind of trigger I'm talking about, but you literally don't have any control and you just react. So we're past that point, and we're at a point now where we're just observing in a mindful way. So the message comes in, the emotion from the subtle energy of the environment, it whispers to you of that of fear, and now you need to let go of that fear to then access, with a calm limbic system and a calm nervous system, access the knowledge of your prefrontal cortex, go through your file folders, find what it is, open it up. This situation is bringing me emotions of fear because it's mimicking another situation where it started similarly and ended in disaster. Cool. Now I have a couple options. Is it worth it to hang out here and figure it out? Do I trust all the people in this room? If the answer is no, I don't even know all the people in the room, get the hell out. If you trust all the people in the room, they love you, you love them, you've known them for a long time, and you're still having this feeling, might be still an latent trigger versus an intuitive message, right? But you don't know if you embody the fear. Be not afraid, because then we can do everything from a state of calm. That's also, we talked about triggering that limbic system, what happens to your body when you're in fight or flight. Chemically, your system shuts off access to your intuition, your Holy Spirit, your guidance, your prefrontal cortex, that cuts off that so that you can react instinctually. Because if you're in fight or flight, your body, we're still animals, so your body is now flooding your system with the chemicals it needs to survive life or death. Not everything's life or death. Going back to urgency culture, okay? This is why it's hard for us, and we get confused, we get anxious, we get clouded, we get... right. It makes sense. We have to start compartmentalizing the things that are happening to us and recognizing the science behind what happens when we embody emotions and react rather than learn from emotions and respond. We are not animals. We are a part of the animal kingdom. I'm just saying, we're not predator prey. We're not. Have some of us been prey, including myself? Yeah, and that sucks. But that doesn't mean I am now just, what's the word I'm looking for? The rest of my life, I don't need to be a victim and a prey, right? Because I'm not that. We're human beings. Just because someone else considers themselves a predator, or maybe they don't know it, they just are, and you have become their prey, if anything, that just shows how animalistic that person is and not utilizing the gift of consciousness that we were given. Right? They're just reacting. Oh, short skirt? Like, gift of free will, gift of knowledge, gift of wisdom. Let's figure this out. We don't need to just be predators. So, yes, are there things in this world to be afraid of? Sure. Should we embody fear? No. Become aware and observe our surroundings? Yes. Why? Because we only thrive from a place of calm, from a place of peace. It's the only time your brain works with you. Because when you get into animal reaction mode, it's too late. You got all the chemicals flooding through your body. So another thing we have to recognize in our day-to-day lifestyles is that of what are we doing to our internal systems through how we live day to day. Because you might not even know that you're addicted to cheap dopamine and endorphin rushes. You might not even know that because your lifestyle is conducive to drama and arguments. We touched on that a little bit yesterday. So, and then that's a program downloaded into your mind as the answer to receiving the chemicals your brain needs, that is endorphins and dopamine. But you can retrain that. You can also find endorphins and dopamine through this activity that doesn't harm self or others, or this activity that doesn't harm self or others, or floods your brain out of control. Or so you go from out of control to being a victim of your circumstances and a victim of how you live your life to one of that of in control. Because now I'm deciding how I'm getting my dopamine. I'm deciding how the endorphins are coming. I decide. And that takes away the fear. It really does. When you do things mindlessly, enter fear. Why? Because you don't make the connection between what is happening and what you're doing. And everything does feel out of control because you didn't intentionally do the thing or do the action. You didn't intentionally do it. It was a product of circumstance from an old programmed system in your brain, self-seeking. And that's what's getting you into trouble. Be not afraid. So you can do this practice. So you can work with these emotions. You can work with this stuff. Oh, it's so empowering. It really is. I mean, I'm not saying I'm perfect at it. And perfection does not exist. Human error is like a top tier thing. It is. And I think it's brilliant. I think that making us be imperfect perfect is like perfect. It freaking is. Because like, how humbling is that? Right? Like you got it all figured out and then like you get a little sleepy and you say something kind of nasty or passive aggressive, or no, I call it my attitude comes out. I'm a little tired. And then you say something with a little bit of an attitude and you're like, ah, shit, I shouldn't have done that. And it puts you back into mindful mode again. We need that. We need natural mistakes. We need to do the wrong thing every once in a while. You know, like hopefully we can catch it before it becomes something super detrimental. But I think it's God's humor, his way of humbling us, you know? He's like, I freaking love you guys. Let me make you as like perfect as you can, but then I'm also going to like not. Because you cannot be all up here. It's not fun. Like I feel like humor and the arts and creativity, that comes from that humbling, man, of human error and human mistake. Without it, what would we be? We'd all be what? Just like knowing everything and just like totally chill? Where's the comedy? Right? Where is the comedic value? We need that. We need the diversity that we have. We need our pain to create art. We need our pain to write songs. Like, so is our pain terrible? Yes and no. Not really, though. Apparently, I needed it to become this hilarious and create art. Like, my friend and I were talking about it. She's like, my music's amazing. And I'm like, yeah, you know pain. It's like, and as sad as that is, to know pain like that, but then to create something so beautiful, that's the beauty of the human experience. That's the beauty of it. That's it right there. Give me hellfire and blackness, and I'll show you something hilarious. I will give me hellfire and torture, and I'll write you a damn good song about it. Like, come on! Look at Van Gogh. The poor guy's losing his mind. Nowadays we consider he might have had bipolar, he might have had manic depression disorder. We don't know, but he had something that we see nowadays. But back then nobody was like doing that, you know. So he was just like off on his own. People just like left him alone because they're like, we can't understand him, and he's like, and he's just trying to figure out the world, just like. And how crazy is it that I understand the man when he cut off his ear to prove like the depth of his like care for a person. Like, I love you so much, I'm willing to part with a piece of my body. Like, I get that. That makes sense to me. So I'm blessed to be in 2025 with the knowledge that we have, right? With the mental health knowledge that we have. Because, like, I don't know. Like, I agree. Next thing you know, I'm giving out ears. Like, I only got 2, so. just call me Whole Skull. Like, I don't know. I forgot where I went on that tangent. But yeah, look at Van Gogh. Look at his art. That only comes from pain, right? Like, so if you find yourself an artist and then you look at your life and you're like, wow, a lot of sad stuff has happened. Yeah, because we needed artists. We needed other people to wake up the dormant emotional capacity of the rest of humanity. Some of us are just chosen to do that, man. It's a responsibility, sure. Yeah. It is. But that's what we were chosen to do. What would life be like without art? Music. Right? Nothing. What would be the purpose here? We need this. We need the arts. Art for the sake of art, bro. So, some of us are called to that lifestyle, and it comes from going through some shit. But the point is to still not be afraid. Be courageous and bold with your pain and put it on a canvas. Be brave and courageous with your pain and write it into a song. Be brave and courageous with your pain and create a whole business. Like, whatever, man. Like, use that fire for fuel. Don't fear. Fuel. Fuel over fear. Oh, I like that. Fuel over fear, man. Like, I jot that down. But isn't that right? Like, that's what fear is, really. It's something that you can turn into fuel. Same with anger. It shows you where there's a passionate injustice. So what do you want to do about it, you know? It's passion. It's passion. So, like, be not afraid and drip and drench your unconditional love on every single thing in your life. Be not afraid. Explode with love. Explode with acceptance. Explode with empathy and compassion and drive and motivation. Yeah. And some of us need a little extra pushy push. I know I did. I did. That's why I feel like there's a good 12 years of my life that are like really hard to look at. Because some of us need more pain than others to get it. You know what I mean? To rewire this to the way that it needs to be wired to be able to fulfill our purpose, which is to reach into people's chests and hug their hearts like the Golly Ma man from Indiana Jones. Golly Ma. And just, I'm not talking like, let's just hug and put our hearts together. I want to reach into your chest and make you feel something. Be not afraid of life, of living, of enjoying, of sharing, of laughing, of crying. of all of the human emotions and experiences. Be not afraid. You got this. You got it. This is your potion concoction that is your life and your experiences that's going to create the magical you. Be not afraid. This life is for you, to become you, to then face you, strengthen you, and thrive you. That's what it's here for. That's it. So what's your biggest challenge right now? What is your biggest challenge you're going through right now? Whatever it is, if you want to put it in the comments, I'd love that. Because I want to talk about what this challenge is a possibility of for the future. Why you have this challenge right now. Why you're experiencing what you're experiencing right now. And honestly, a lot of you aren't going to like it sometimes when we recognize that some of this is our own doing. Like, the pain from our past, our traumas, not our fault. We didn't deserve our past, okay? But we deserve a future with this new brain, all rewired and ready to go. And who's that on? You. So yes, I understand a lot of us are tired, broken, sad. But I'm telling you, you don't have to be like that forever. Right now, supply yourself grace and compassion so that you can feel better. Placate your emotions. Love. Validate your emotions. Self-love first. This is the whole point. Self-love first through that sad. And then so that you can recognize that we were carrying that sad and carrying that pain from the last experience. And now our life is built around it and we didn't know. Because I feel like some people could say oh yeah, well, what's this have anything to do with me? And say some really, sad stuff that's going on in their life. I'm not saying it's always you, but it is for you, for a new awareness, for a new perspective. If you're open for it, if you're open to it, if you put the fear down, you put the anger down, and you look at all the facts with mindful observation, you'll be like, oh, that's what God's trying to tell me. Or, oh, that's what the universe is trying to get me to do so that I can live a better life. Every morning, I have a prayer that I do. I add different stuff every once in a while. But the majority, what I really I out the gate start with, thank you for helping me build a life that supports me in my authentic nature. And that would not have happened unless I went through what I went through to understand the full totality of self. I needed to be stripped naked to see who I was and see who I am and who I've become. And when you're stripped naked like that, the vulnerability, the defenselessness, you talk about humbling, right? But I'm glad, because now I don't live a life fake. I don't live a life with what I think I want. I live a life with what I know I need. I don't shove people into my life just because I want them to think I'm cool. I proudly stand alone and state my opinions and state my boundaries. This could have only happened because of what I went through. So be not afraid. Do I still struggle? Yes. Will it be forever? No. I know. Every year I take into this journey, the better I feel. I remember when I first started this journey and I'm watching people make videos like I am right now talking about this, how great they feel. And I'm like, must be freaking nice. But I didn't recognize the hard work that goes into it. The stripping away of self. The surrendering to, I don't know anything. That's harder than you think. And I used to just be like, yeah, well, you probably don't have as deep as traumas as I do. No. Don't matter how deep they are, girl. It's the same healing journey. And you can still get to this place. And yeah, it is simple, but not simple. Be still. Be not afraid. Eat good food. Proactively plan. Like, knowing thyself is the best gift I could have ever received out of all the gifts ever. Because that helps with the whole be not afraid. Because, like, I know I got it. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's fine. I've seen some shit. Like, what's going to throw me right now? And maybe that's where God's plan put me. He didn't want me to get thrown, you know? I need you strong. And I'm not. Like, I am still a very sensitive beast. I went to the cafe with my friend this morning and she couldn't find her wallet. And I'm immediately like, let's get in the car and drive everywhere. She was like, I'll just call my job. I was like, what? We gotta go. Like, I still have vulnerabilities. I still have things I'm not like a master of. Like, yeah, I don't do well at those things. Like, I'm like, let's go to panic mode. Let's do it. She's like, or we don't have to. Like, yeah, still got stuff to learn. Still got things I'm working on too. Right? But that's the journey. I forget why I brought that up. I just thought that was really funny. I was immediately like, panic! And she was like, or we could just not panic. I'm like, oh, that's an option. That's nice. And I'm still learning that. Like, I'm still learning to strip away those old programs and be not afraid. Like, it's all good. It's going to work out. She's like, I think, it's not a big deal. Like, right. And, like, that's also why we need good people in our lives that we trust and care about. Because, like, I learned something from that. I was like, oh, wow, you're right. Like, you could have just called. Let me do that next time I freak out about something. Like, I'm learning that recently in my life, you know? Well, the last, 6 to 7 years. But, hey, we're getting there. Everything used to just set me off like that. Not just, like, a lost wallet. Like, if I was getting ready to go, I'm already anxious, right? That was just how I was. So I'm already having an anxiety attack because I'm getting ready to leave my house. That was already a trigger for me. Now, my friend would pick up his keys, just pick them up. Like, he sensed that I was almost ready. So he grabbed his keys, getting ready to go, talking to our other friend, not even giving me any attention. And I lost it. I had to dismantle everything I had done up until that point to get ready to leave and start all over again. All over again. Just because he picked up his keys. I felt rushed. Oh boy. And now, 8 years later, yeah, I still have that sense, oh, I didn't like that they're picking up their keys, maybe I feel rushed. But instead of embodying it, I just go, I recognize that. I get it. I know why it bothers me. But guess what? We're not going to do that. We're not going to feed it. We're going to take our time anyway. And then, upon that, I'm like, cool. I don't have to start all over. It's a lot better. So, be not afraid. You need to learn these things. I feel like, yeah, I had to learn certain tools and certain ways of being, just of self-being, to be able to support who I am based off of stars, astrology, right? Because, that's kind of your little ingredients that make you up as a person, right? And my ingredients, they make me a little bit of a hard person to do things. So I had to go through certain tests and hoops and things to make my particular combination of ingredients be that of a masterful cake. Because all of us have the potential to be a masterful cake. We just have to learn how to put the ingredients together. Sometimes you got to mix the dries with the dries, the wets with the wets, and then you integrate the dry into the wet. Or sometimes you put everything in the bowl and you just throw it in the oven. Everyone's got a different recipe and different ingredients. And we need personal trials and errors to understand our recipe. And then you don't even have to look at the recipe card anymore. You just know how to bake you. We need that. to fulfill our highest potential. Without the ingredients, though, and the directions on how to bake the cake of higher purpose, of higher self, then, yeah, we don't do it. So, like, we need the instructions, and you get the instructions from effing around and finding out. Or get a guide. I keep saying that because, like, there are two options. There are. You can do that. Right, you could still go through experiences and, like, unfold your highest potential and learn about yourself in a less traumatic way. You can. But some of us are meant for that. Guys, I'm telling you, be not afraid. Do not fear any of it. It's all for you. And if you need help trying to figure out the instructions to the ingredients that you're given, reach out. You know? There are people out there that are made for this, you know? They're good at it. God made those people too. Like he figured it all out. Like, we just have to be not afraid so we can be still and be not afraid so we can be open to it all. I love that because I really did fear everything. And I sat in victimhood for like too many years. And it kept happening because I wasn't learning and applying. So, like, I kept getting it. And then I was just like, well, life just sucks then, huh? Nah, you're just stuck on the same freaking go-kart track. Like, let's go. Because I was living in fear. And then fear turned to anger. And then anger was just covering up the sadness. And it was so icky and gunky. And I was just attracting more of that. And so I wasn't learning the lesson. I wasn't learning the difference between overcoming and succumbing. Once again, world of duality, you always got a choice. There are always choices. Does that mean the choices that you make for your self-betterment aren't going to be hard? No, they're going to be freaking hard. Doesn't mean there's not a choice, though. In the face of adversity is always opportunity. Always. Always. The face of adversity is always opportunity. When I heard that for the first time, I was just like, talk about that moment. You ever see, like, those videos where people are like, oh, and then, like, all the geometry symbols and shit start, like, and the person's face is, like, floating, and they're just like, oh. Like, that's what I felt like. I was like, oh, so nothing is hopeless. Nothing is hopeless. You are alive. You're alive. And that's the only thing you need to thrive, is the fact that you have air in your lungs, that you can, like, be alive. That's all you need to thrive and succeed. Be not afraid. Be still and know to not be afraid. Trust. Trust in yourself. Trust in your higher power. Trust in your higher self. Trust in nature. Just trust. Be not afraid. I like that. Like, I'm telling you, yes, there are things to be afraid of. But don't embody it. Utilize it as that message of awareness. That's all. Because when we start embodying fear, we separate ourselves once again from our own divinity, from our own trust and our own faith. Trust in that, in your intuition. Trust in those messages. Trust in your emotions. Trust. And if you can't trust them because of all of your trauma, and you can't differentiate between what is reality and what is truth and what is personal truth, then let's do this. Let's go on a journey. Let's sign up for a class or sign up with a therapist, sign up with a coach. Like, you got this. And we'll do that. We can do that. Lean on the others in this humanity. Lean on each other. Let's do it. Because there is a difference between trauma triggers and reading your environment as it is. And we do need to heal and reframe and heal our nervous systems from our traumas so that we can have a very clear communication with the here and now without the lens, the filter of our trauma. When I first started like saying things like this, like the trauma filter and stuff like that, I used to be a cigarette smoker when I was like learning this. So I always visualized it as like a filter on a cigarette. And like the filter on a cigarette is helpful because it's not as harsh, right? It's not harsh on your throat and you don't like drop your voice a million octaves. However, inside of that filter is fiberglass, rat poison, and like other weird shit. So like, it's good for you, but it's also not good for you. It protects you while it kills you. And that is what trauma filters do. They protect you while they're actually killing you at the same time. So that's how I always picture it. And I just like picture this drag through this like filter. And like, how long is the filter? You know, like how much are you buffering yourself from that raw tobacco with fiberglass? And when I started rolling my own cigarettes and like doing filterless, yeah, it's a right to your face. You taste the spiciness of the tobacco, the flavor of the growth. Like I feel like I could smell the farm. You know, I could taste the farm in my mouth, not the rat poison and fiberglass. It had a different taste. Yes, drop my voice like 5 octaves. Called them my cowboy cigarettes. But see, but I had a clear taste of the tobacco. That's like your mindfulness and your observation without the filter in the present. So, good analogy for anybody else who used to smoke or still smokes. Stop doing that. I love you. Don't do that anymore. All right, guys. Have a great day. Be not afraid. You got this. It's all meant for you.